Hi everyone, welcome. This is our last free yoga basics class through our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Casey Tarian with Blue Point Yoga. Again, this is our last class of our 6-week free yoga basics series that we've been doing. As always, please make sure to like and subscribe to our videos so you're notified of any additional videos that pop up on our YouTube channel. And if you're not a member to Blue Point, please visit us at bluepointyoga.com and join us. We have virtual classes as well as in-person hybrid, so a combination model. We're going to get started in about 30 seconds or so. If you're just logging in, it's really great to have a blanket or a towel, something that you can use for support to sit up on or even use for your knees. You can also have 2 blocks or something sturdy for your hands and a bolster that could be a pillow or a couch cushion or even a nice rolled up blanket. It is 7 o'clock Eastern time, so again, welcome everyone. I'm Casey with Blue Point Yoga. We're going to start in an easy seated posture tonight. This is called Tsukasana. If you've been watching our videos, I sort of have been doing some sort of sequence of building upon every week. Every week we've been doing a little bit more and more. And tonight we're going to do a little bit more of a flow. That's something that you might be familiar with if you've ever taken additional classes or more advanced classes. So we're going to start in an easy seated pose to get ourselves ready. And so making your way there, finding yourself with either closed eyes or a gentle gaze low. And begin to just settle in for a moment. Imagine that you can notice your breath as it travels up the length of your spine on your inhale, maybe starting from your tailbone, through the backs of your rib cage, the backs of your lungs, all the way up through the back of your neck, to the crown of your head, the top part of your head. And then as you exhale, imagine, visualize the breath traveling from the crown of your head down to your tailbone. On your next in-breath, I'm going to ask you to imagine that you're drawing and seeing, visualize your breath as it travels up the right side of your spine. So it might be a little funky for you at first if you're not used to this sort of visualization, but allowing yourself to imagine the breath as it travels on your inhale all along the right side of your spine, going up through the right side of your rib cage, back of your lungs, the back of your neck, all on the right side, all the way up to the crown of your head. And as you exhale, imagine it traveling down the left side, starting from the crown of your head, down through the left side of your neck, through the left back of your shoulders, through the back left side of your lungs, through the back left side of your rib cage, down to the left side of your tailbone. On your inhale, imagine it traveling up the length of the left side of your spine. Noticing any areas of tension, of tightness, perhaps noticing what's going on in your shoulder blades, especially on the left side on your inhale, maybe the left side of your neck. And as you exhale, we're going to travel along the right side of our spine this time, watching the breath as it travels down, hitting all those areas. Your next in-breath, imagine the breath traveling up the right side of your spinal column. And as you exhale, noticing it traveling down the left side. So now that you have that pattern, inhale through the left side of your spine. Exhale through the right. So we're sort of making this U-like shape, maybe a very thin oval-like shape, almost like a pancake, right? On your inhale, imagine it traveling up the right side of your spine. As you exhale down the left side. Let's have this be our last round. So on your inhale, make it count as it travels up the left side of your spine, really noticing how it's hitting all those spots along the left side of your spinal column tonight. Noticing maybe you can feel like you can take deeper breaths in through the left side of the back of your lungs, noticing the space behind you. And then as you exhale, traveling down the right side, maybe even noticing the right shoulder start to deflate a little bit more. We're not forcing it down, but just notice, does your right shoulder start to release just a little bit more? And then once you're finished with your out breath on the right side, begin to come back to just breathing normally. And that's something we don't think about. It just happens. It just in and out. Notice your body's response to the visualization of that pancake-like shape that we were making, watching our breath traveling up the length of our spine, noticing how you're feeling. When you're ready, begin to flutter your eyes open if they aren't already. And if you're not in a cross-legged position, make your way there now. And whatever natural sort of posture when you come to your cross-legged position, I always sit with my left leg in front. You might have your right leg in front, whatever that looks like for you. We're just going to take a deep breath in, sitting up nice and tall. And then as we exhale, begin to walk your fingertips away from your pelvis, away from the center of your body. And just start to walk your fingertips forward as you start to have this forward tilt of your pelvis, and your chest starts to come just sort of halfway or so, and stop where you feel this stretch on the front outer hip. So again, I have my left leg in front. You might have your right, whatever is your dominant side. So you might feel the stretch. For me, I feel it on the left outer hip. You might feel it on the right outer hip, depending on what leg is in front. So just notice here, allow your shoulders to relax down the back, away from your ears. Stretching into your outer front hip. On your next inhale, use your fingertips as leverage to walk yourself back up to a neutral spine. And then we're actually going to take our fingertips slightly behind us. So we're not leaving the mat. Our bum is still connected to the mat. You're just extending your fingertips back behind you. Draw your shoulder blades together. And maybe your chest starts to expand forward. You might start to feel your shoulders coming in towards one another in the center of your back. If it's okay on your neck, you might start to lift your chin towards the ceiling, pull your belly button in towards your spine. So we're not allowing the belly to expand significantly forward, but we're just allowing this openness, this little bit of a back bend, if you will, after that forward fold. On your next inhale, begin to walk your fingertips back towards your hips so you can start to come to a neutral spine. Place your right hand down by your right hip as we extend our left arm up towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, we're going to keep our bum connected to the mat, but walk your right fingertips just slightly off to the right so you can stretch your left arm up and over to the right. So if your left hip comes up off the mat, that's a sign that you've gone too far, so come back towards, maybe you're here, maybe you're still here. We're just laterally stretching on our left side body, allowing this openness for the little muscles in between our rib cage to expand and contract on our inhales and exhales. On your next inhale, we'll begin to walk your right fingertips back towards your hip. And then we're going to take a spinal twist off towards the right. So keeping your right fingertips relatively right where they are. Bring your left hand across your body, bringing your left hand to your right thigh. And then just start to open your chest up to the right side of the room. We're not going to an extreme twist right now. You're in control. So if you're trying to yank your torso back and it doesn't feel good, don't do that. Just leave your fingertips by your outer right hip. Your left hand is on your right hip, on your right thigh. And your chest is just looking off towards the right. Gaze can look wherever is comfortable on your neck, and you're still breathing. If it helps, you might even imagine that pancake-like shape that we were visualizing a few moments ago. On your next inhale, slowly unwind your torso, coming back to neutral. Take a moment, check out what leg is in front, and we're gonna flip the fold. So again, I had my left leg in front, so I'm gonna flip it so my right foot comes in front. So my right leg comes in front. It's kind of awkward. You might need to wiggle through your hips for a moment just to kind of recalibrate, reassess what's going on. It's always so awkward when my right ankle's in front. I'm always like, what is happening? So take a deep breath in, bring your hands to your thighs. And then as you exhale, begin to walk your fingertips forward. Only go so far that you start to feel that stretch in your outer front hip. Again, my right leg is in front, so I'm feeling this on the right outer hip. Try not to pull your chest forward. Only go as far as your body is ready, and breathe. Again, maybe using that mechanism, that pranayama, that breath pattern that we just established a few moments ago. Pancakes. Who doesn't love pancakes? I'm sure there's people out there who don't love pancakes. But imagine that pancake up and down. That very flat oval shape, tracing what your spinal column looks like. And if you've ever seen a spinal column on a skeleton, or even in an anatomy class, for example, you know that it's not smooth. So just imagine the pancake visualization for our purposes tonight. If I haven't lost you yet, begin to walk your fingertips back towards your hips. And then we're going to walk our fingertips back behind us just slightly. Again, we're staying on our sits bones, those two knobby points underneath the fleshy part of our bum. We're drawing our shoulder blades towards one another so the chest starts to shine forward. Pull your belly button in towards your spine. Maybe your chin begins to lift. Maybe your gaze lifts. Maybe if it's okay on your neck, you look all the way up towards the ceiling. If this is too much, you don't have to do this. Just bring your chin back down to wherever it's most comfortable for you. And breathe in and out. On your next inhale, begin to walk your fingertips forward so you come to a neutral spine, bringing your chin back to neutral. We're going to leave our left fingertips to the outside of our left hip as our right arm extends up towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, walk your left fingertips off towards the left as your right fingers stretch up and over to the left, feeling your side body stretch on your right side this time. Again, we're not lifting our right hip. Our right side of the bum is not coming off the mat. We're still connected, rooted down to the earth. Breathe in. Breathe out. On your next inhale, walk your left fingertips back towards your left hip. And then we're going to bring our right hand across the body to our left thigh. And then just slightly turn your torso off to the left. Again, you might start to draw yourself into a little bit of a deeper twist, but try again not to yank yourself into a massive twist. We're still pretty early on in class, and that doesn't typically feel the nicest when you try to yank yourself into something you might not be ready for. That's such a good metaphor for life in general too, but just noticing how your body feels, how your body is reacting to this twist on this side, especially with our non-dominant leg in front of us, right? So we took that opposite leg in front this time. On your inhale, slowly unwind, coming back towards center. So we're bringing our torso forward. And then begin to make your way onto hands and knees. We aren't going to be on hands and knees for a long time. We're going to just use that as a transition from our tabletop position. But if you need padding, feel free. But I am going to ask that you move your padding out from underneath you as soon as we come into down dog, which will be very quickly. So making your way onto hands and knees, just make sure that your props are within reach in case you would like them at any point throughout practice. So once we come to hands and knees, we're going to have our hands slightly ahead of our wrists, maybe about a handprint or so, rooting down through the finger pads, spreading our fingers wide, index fingers pointing towards the front of the room. And if you feel like you don't have space in your shoulder, walk your hands out to the outer edges of your mat. We're going to tuck our toes, then we're going to press down through our finger pads, not through the heels of our palms and our wrists, but through our finger pads. And then we're going to lift our knees, and then slowly shift our hips up and back for our downward facing dog. Once you come to down dog, your heels are trying to reach towards the mat. They probably won't touch. If they do, that's awesome. You don't have to strive for that. Maybe they will over time tonight in class and you'll get closer. If they never touch, that's fine too. But begin to bend your right knee as you straighten your left, and then alternate going through left knee bent, straightening through your right. And just go back and forth, using this momentum of pedaling out through your down dog. Breathing in, breathing out again, realizing that you've got that pancake visualization of your spine, using that to your leverage. Breath in, breath out. Let's take 1 to 2 more pedals through both sides of our legs. And then we'll come to stillness in our down dog. On your inhale, begin to pop up onto the balls of both feet. As you do that, begin to bend into your knees and gaze towards your thumbs. So you're looking forward kind of in this somewhat of a upside down chair pose, we'll call it. And then begin to walk your feet towards your hands, so we're coming towards a standing forward fold at the top of our mat. And here you can have a generous bend in the knees. You can bend one knee and then straighten. You can shake your head out yes and no. You can sway side to side. Continuing to breathe even as our belly is constricted. It's close to our thighs, if not resting on our thighs. I took a class one time with a pretty famous yoga instructor, and she had said something that I thought was just so amazing. She said, I'm going to put my hands underneath my belly, and I'm just going to cradle my belly, because maybe your belly, like mine, is kind of just resting on your thighs. So maybe it would feel good to bring your hands to your belly and just give yourself a little bit of cradling action too. So know that the options are really endless in our standing forward fold. If you're still taking movement and if you're holding on, cradling your belly, bring your hands towards a resting pose and slow down your movement. For example, I have my fingertips on the mat. On your next inhale, begin to slide your palms to your shins, your knees, or your thighs as you start to come towards a halfway lift. We're allowing our chest to look towards the ground, but our gaze is kind of forward of us. We're coming to this halfway lift, really lengthening out of the pelvis. On your exhale, slide your palms back down, come to your standing forward fold. Inhale, slide your palms up to meet your shins or thighs, halfway lift. Exhale, slowly fold right back down. Inhale, we'll come to our halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. This time we're going to root down through the soles of both feet. Really imagine that there's, I like to talk about it being like a stake from a tent when you're putting it in the ground. Imagine that you have stakes in between the soles of your feet. They're rooting you down into the mat. Begin to draw your arms out towards the side. If you have space for a T, great. If not, you can bring them out in front of you. Then begin to draw your shoulder blades together and use that leverage to pull your belly button in and guide yourself all the way up to standing as your arms extend up overhead. And then as you exhale, we'll bring our hands down by your sides and stand tall in our mountain pose, Tadasana. We'll do that half sun salutation about 2 to 3 more times. On your inhale, bring your arms out and up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, bring your hands down by your sides, by your hips. As you do that, start to dive forward. And you're going to fold forward with a flat back, going as slowly and mindfully as you can. Inhale, come to your halfway lift. Following your breath, your movement. I might move faster than you, I might move slower. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, draw your arms out, draw your shoulder blades together. Belly pulls in as you lift all the way up to standing, arms up overhead. And then exhale, Tadasana. Inhale your arms out and up towards the ceiling, feeling length. Exhale, hinge and fold right back down. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale your arms out and up as you rise to stand tall. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. All right, let's do that one more time on our own. I'm not going to cue anything, but follow your breath. You can follow along with me on camera if you would like. Again, I'm not going to cue anything, but we're going to come back to standing tall at the top of our mat. When you're ready, begin your half sun salutation, your Ardha Surya Namaskar. Following your breath, following that pancake visualization. And when you're ready, coming to standing tall at the top of your mat, coming to your mountain pose. From your mountain pose. And to bring your arms out and up towards the ceiling. As soon as your hands lift up towards the ceiling, again, we're pressing down through the soles of our feet. Again, we're imagining that we're rooted down to the mat. And to draw your thumbs back, again, we're coming towards that back bend, right? We just did this seated a few minutes ago, so we're coming towards this back bend. As you draw your thumbs back, your hips pull forward, gaze might lift. From this back bend, you're going to bend your elbows. So you're bringing your elbows to cactus arms. So they're also like goalposts. So you're coming into drawing your elbows into a bent variation, goalpost, cactus arms. Draw your elbows back. So again, you're really making this an amplified back bend here. Pull your belly button in towards your spine. It's kind of awkward, I know. And then we're going to begin to bend into our knees as we're in this little bit of a back bend. Bend into your knees. And then slightly come off your back bend and draw your elbows towards one another, bringing your forearms towards one another. Maybe your hands come to touch, coming into our chair pose. Breathe in, breathe out. Pull your belly button in towards your spine. Heart is shining forward. Breath in. Breath out. Notice, are you gripping your toes? Maybe your heels are lifting. Are you gripping onto your heels? Maybe your toes are lifting. See if you can shift your weight back and forth. And imagine that you're drawing your inner thighs towards one another. Imagine that you have like a pillow or a block in between your thighs that you're squeezing here. So we're really turning on our thighs. Breath in. Breath out. There's probably a little bit of fire generating, a little bit of heat. You might be sweating. That's okay. Breath in. Breath out. Take one more inhale. Maybe you sink a little bit lower. And then as you exhale, we're going to begin to straighten through our knees and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Begin to bend into your knees. Bring your belly to your torso, and then slowly lift your belly off your thighs, belly towards your thighs, not towards your torso. Lift your belly off your thighs. And bring your hands to heart center. Come back to your chair pose. And then stand tall, Tadasana. All right, we've got that pattern right. We'll do it again. So inhale your arms out and up towards the ceiling. Once your arms are lifted, rooting down through your feet, thumbs back, hips forward, gaze lifts. Maybe coming into this bit of a back bend. Pull your belly button in. Begin to bend into your elbows, draw them in toward your goalpost, cactus arms, and draw your elbows back. Begin to bend into your knees, and then slightly bring your chin down so your gaze comes to neutral, back comes to neutral. Draw your elbows in towards your heart center. Maybe they touch, palms together, and we're in our chair pose. Breath in. Breath out. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. As you exhale, straighten through your knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Begin to bend your knees. Come towards your chair pose. Start with your belly on your thighs, and then slowly lift your torso off your thighs, hands together at heart center. Take a breath in, and then exhale, stand tall, Tadasana. All right, we'll do that one more time. Noticing what's going on in your thighs, what's going on in your hips. Are you clenching your glutes? Just notice what's going on. Inhale your arms out and up towards the ceiling. Thumbs back, hips forward, gaze lifts, back bend. Draw your elbows down towards your cactus arms. As you bring your elbows back, draw them back, shoulder blades towards one another. Begin to bend into your knees, sinking in toward your chair pose. Draw your chin to neutral, gaze to neutral. Draw your forearms towards the center of your body, hands coming towards heart center. Breath in. Maybe you can sink a little bit lower. Breath out. Notice what's going on. How are your inner thighs doing? Mine are a little fiery. Mine are shaking really bad. Breath in. Even my hands are like, ah. Breath out. One more inhale. As you exhale, straighten through your knees and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend your knees, bringing your belly towards your thighs, and then slowly lift your torso off your thighs, coming back to your chair pose. Breath in. And then stand tall, Tadasana. Shake out your shoulders, maybe turn your head and neck softly side to side, maybe roll. Notice if you, as we were doing those movements in our hips, did your tension start to creep up into your shoulders? I know that my neck is feeling like, blah. It's like everything's up here. See if you can visualize that pancake breath, right? Inhale up the spine, exhale down the other side of the spine. Okay, so we're gonna take some standing postures before we do our vinyasa tonight. I'm gonna highly recommend that you do have a blanket or some sort of pillowcase or towel that you can use, and put it about midway-ish on your mat. So we're going to use this for support, and then step your both feet in front of your blanket. You can also have blocks for your hands. I'm going to teach it without blocks on the first side. And then if you want to see how it's done with blocks, actually, you know what? I'm changing my mind. I'm going to do it with blocks on the first side, and then if you want to do it without blocks on the second side, you can. So make sure you have, if you have blocks, props, something like blocks, you have them near your feet. All right, so this is an ode to one of my yoga teacher friends. She shared with me her sequence that she did the other night, and I'm very grateful to her, so shout out to you. You know who you are if you're watching. All right, so let's bring our hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, we're gonna put the weight into our left foot, come up onto the ball of your right foot. You can leave your hands at heart center, you can bring them to your hips. Watch where your blanket is, and you're gonna step your right foot back so the ball of your right foot is flat on the mat, but your heel is lifted. So I'm kind of at this angle here, and then I'm going to turn my torso forward in my high lunge. And I'm just going to adjust. I'm going to heel toe my left foot a little bit forward. So you're going to have this juicy bend in my front knee. Heel is lifted on my back foot. And you start to feel, right, we've been working, those chair poses. My thigh on my left leg is, it is burning. Maybe you start to feel a little bit of elongation through your right thigh, through your right hip flexor. It's this meaty part of your hip that helps you in terms of sitting, walking, dancing, etc. So you might start to feel something going on here. Okay, so bring your hands down towards your blocks. So remember I said have them close by. So if you have blocks or props, you're going to bring your hands to your support. If you do not have them, just leave your hands on your hips. Again, I'll show you how to do this with blocks, and then we'll do them without blocks. So on your inhale, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, begin to bend into your right knee. Slow with control. Slow, 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 slow. Bend into your right knee until you tap your knee down on your blanket or your support. Keep your toes tucked. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. On your inhale, press through the heel of your right foot to lift your knee and come back up towards your lunge. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, bend into your right knee. Slowly, slowly, slow. Lower your right knee down to the mat. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Next, inhale, press out through the right heel. Lift your right knee. And as you exhale, we'll slowly bend into our right knee. Bring your right knee down to the mat. All right, I lied. I think I said one more. I really do mean one more right now. So on your inhale, press out through your heel. Lift your right knee. And then this time we'll exhale, slowly lowering the right knee down to the mat. Untuck your toes on your right foot. Press the top of your right foot into the mat. And then maybe you heel toe your left foot just slightly forward so you can draw your right hip forward of your right knee. If you have blocks, you can bring your hands to blocks or props. You can always walk your hands up your left thigh for your Anjaneyasana, low lunge. So how does this feel in comparison, right? We were just up on our high lunge, and I said, we're stretching through the right hip flexor, strengthening through the left. So with our right knee down, we're still doing the same thing. It's the same sort of action, except for we're not balanced because our knee is down. It's supporting us here. If you have the space, bring your hands down to your blocks or down to frame your left foot. And then we're going to walk our hands back towards our hips so we can begin to straighten through our left knee, coming towards our Ardha Hanumanasana, our half monkey pose, having a little bit of a bend in the right knee as we straighten through the hamstring. So we're not locking through the knee when I say that. There's a little bit of some buoyancy here. Flexing your left toes back by your left shin. Breath in, breath out. On your next inhale, begin to bend into your left knee once again. We're drawing our hips slightly forward. If you have this space, if you have blocks or props, begin to bring them to the inside of your left foot, and then begin to heel toe your left foot to the outer edge of the left side of your mat. And if it feels okay, you might even angle your left heel in, toes out. So we're coming towards a lizard lunge, and so we're still trying to have this forward tilt of our pelvis, having this forward shifting of the right hip forward of the right knee. If you don't have blocks, you can always bring your fingertips down to the mat. There's just a caution that you are aware of how much weight you're pressing down into the heels of your palms if you're coming down to this variation. See if you can lift your heels, really focus on the weight distributing through your finger pads, through your thumbs, through your knuckle ridges, giving your wrists a little bit of a break and not dumping all the way into your shoulders, because we're opening up our hips here, and our hips have we call them the junk drawer of emotions. When we open up our hips, they love to just move their tension in other places. Notice what's going on in your shoulders. Are you shrugging your shoulders into your ears? Just notice. There's nothing wrong with it. Just notice what's happening as we stretch and open through our hips. All right, if you have your wrists lifted and your hands are on the mat, slowly lower your wrists. If you have hands on blocks, maybe you lower your hands down to the mat. Begin to heel toe your left foot in, so your left hand is now framing your left foot. So right hand on right side, left hand on the other side of your left foot. We're gonna tuck our back toes, press down through our hands, lift our right knee, put the weight into your hands, come light on the left foot, and then heel toe the left foot back. And we're gonna come back to our downward facing dog. So take a breath in, breath out, move your blanket off to the side for a moment. Noticing what's going on. Did you, or can you, recall what your down dog looked like earlier? How close were your heels? Again, no right or wrong answer. It's just an opportunity to see what's going on in our bodies as we stretch, strengthen, lengthen. From our down dog, we're going to do a little bit of a flow. So on your inhale, move forward towards a high plank. We'll lower our knees down to the mat, untuck our toes, shift our hips forward so our shoulders can come forward of our wrists. Keep those fingers spread wide, hug your elbows in, and have your elbows grazing your rib cage as you slowly lower down to the mat with control, tucking your elbows in. Keeping your palms about rib cage height, seeing how light you can be on your hands. On your inhale, press through the tops of your feet and then lift your chest for a baby cobra. Exhale, lower back down to your bellies. Using the leverage of pressing into your palms, straighten through your elbows, come up onto hands and knees, and tuck your toes, lift your hips. Exhale your way to downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale. On your inhale, bend your knees to come up onto the balls of your toes. Feet, bend your knees, look forward towards your thumbs, and then walk your way to the top of your mat, coming to your standing forward fold. And then maybe you wiggle side to side. You might clench your hands into a fist and let your fingers go, fan and clench. Breath in, breath out. On your next inhale, we'll slide our palms up to meet shins, knees, or thighs, halfway lift, so lengthen your spine. As you exhale, forward fold. Inhale, draw your arms out and up as you rise to stand tall, arms extend up overhead. And then exhale, stand tall, Tadasana. All right, if you moved your blanket out, bring it back. We're gonna do the other side now. All right, so I said I would show you how to do this without blocks with this variation. So you can always use blocks if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more. Try it without blocks, see what happens. You can always take your time. You can always find some modifications, whatever you need, as long as you're safe. Bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. We're going to root down through our right foot this time. Come up onto the ball of your left foot. Maybe check out your feet. Make sure you're okay to step your left foot back. So we're coming to the ball of our left foot, keeping our left heel lifted. And then as soon as you do that, you can turn your torso forward. If you need to pop your left heel down to reestablish, that's always, always a plus. So step it down, come back up. Noticing what's going on as you stretch through your left hip flexor this time, bending into the right knee. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. All right, if you need blocks, feel free to grab them, put your hands on them, maybe lean your torso forward. I'm gonna shorten my fringe here because I'm slipping on it. So I said I would show you how to do this without blocks. So if you want to do this without blocks, bring your hands to your hips. Rooting out through the left heel behind you. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, hands on your hips. Bend into your left knee and slowly with control, lower your left knee, tap your left knee down. Whew. Oh man, if you were watching the video just now, my leg was going, ah. Maybe yours was too. My leg was like, I don't want to do this. No, 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 no. So decide maybe you need blocks. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. On your next inhale, press through the ball of your left foot. Use that leverage of pushing your heel back to lift yourself back up to your high lunge. As you exhale, slowly bend into your left knee. Lower your left knee down to the mat, softly with control. Breath in. Breath out. Next inhale, press through the heel, lift your left knee, come up to your high lunge. Exhale, lower your left knee down to the mat. Breath in. Breath out. Inhale, lift up to your high lunge. Exhale, this is our last time, so bend into your left knee, lower your left knee down to the mat, untuck your left toes, heel toe your right foot slightly forward so you can offer a forward shifting, this left hip. Your left hip is forward of your left knee. So earlier I didn't say this, but we're not forward, so far forward that we're like really dumping into our pelvis here. It's just a slight forward tilt. So we're not pressing down onto our left kneecap, so we're not here, but just a little bit of a shift forward. So if you have hands on blocks, you can leave them there. You can walk your hands up to your right thigh. Stretching into your left hip flexor as we strengthen our right hip flexor this time. Breath in. Breath out. Again, imagine that pancake. See if you can maybe give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back. You've got this. Breath in. Breath out. On your next inhale, bring your hands down to frame your front foot. We're going to walk our fingertips back as we straighten through the right leg, drawing our right hip back. So flexing your right toes back by your right face, back by your right shin, back towards your face. Maybe you have right and left face. Maybe. Words escape me when I'm practicing. Just continuing to find those humorous moments, especially in life and when things can be really hard, especially throughout the pandemic and all the things that we've been facing day in and day out. See if there's some light that you can find in simple things like Casey saying the wrong words. All right, on your next inhale, begin to bend into your right knee. Bring the sole of your right foot flat to the mat. We're going to bring our hands to the inside of our right foot and then heel toe our right foot out towards the outer edge of the right side of our mat. You can slightly pivot your right toes so they face out and your heel is facing in. And here you can start to shift a little bit more forward into your pelvis. Again, if you're taking this down onto the finger pads, lift your wrists. Put the weight down into the knuckle ridges of your fingers. Give your wrists a little bit of reprieve here. Breath in. Breath out. Maybe tap into that pancake breath. I'm sure there's a proper name to call it, but I like to imagine a pancake. Can you tell I'm hungry? Maybe a crepe. It could be also a crepe. That could be it. A crepe with maple syrup, so good. So as you're visualizing your crepe and getting hungrier as class goes on, see if you can have that lightness in you, not allowing the tension to creep up into your shoulders, because our shoulders are one of those places on our body that are like, hey, I'm here, I'm helping, I'm here to help, I want to help you today. And you can say, no, I got this. My hips, we're just focused here. If your wrists are off the mat, slowly lower them back down. And then begin to heel toe your right foot so it's in between your hands. So we're framing our right foot with our right and left hand. Begin to tuck your left toes, lift your left knee, press down through your palms, and then slowly walk your right foot back to meet your left. Coming to your downward facing dog, remove your blanket, your support. Notice, are your heels closer to the mat? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Just notice, how are your hamstrings feeling? How do your hips feel? Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. On your inhale, we're gonna come forward to our high plank. We'll lower our knees down to the mat, untuck our toes, shift our hips forward so our shoulders come forward of our wrists. Hug your elbows in and lower all the way down to your belly. Hopefully not hitting your head on your props. Keeping your palms tucked in towards your rib cage. Draw your shoulder blades towards one another, pressing into the tops of your feet. Begin to lift on your inhale for your baby cobra. Exhale, lower back down to your bellies. Press down through your finger pads. Press up through your palms, straighten through your elbows. Come up onto hands and knees. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Breath out. One more inhale. One more exhale. On your inhale, bend your knees, look forward towards your thumbs, and then make your way to the top of your mat, coming to your standing forward fold once again. On your inhale, bring your palms up to meet shins, knees, or thighs, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, draw your arms out and up, using that as leverage to draw you all the way up. And then exhale your hands down by your side, stand tall, Tadasana. Breath in. Breath out. We're going to do one more standing posture, and I promise we're getting closer towards Shavasana. So for our standing posture, our peak pose tonight is going to be a standing figure 4. So I'm moving my blanket out from the wall space so I can show you what this looks like. If you have a wall, this is a really great opportunity to make your way towards the wall. So I'll show you what it looks like without the wall and then with the wall. So if you want to try this. So some teachers like to teach this posture coming from chair pose. That doesn't always work for everyone, and our postures are different, our mechanics are a little bit different. Some of us have shorter legs than the others, so I like to teach it from standing tall into Tadasana, so from our standing mountain pose. So the way that I like to do it is I like to start with my left leg. So we're going to start on the left leg. Begin to come up onto the ball of your right foot. You can leave your hands on your hips or your hands to heart center, yogi's choice, whatever you're comfortable with. If you bring your hands away from these to center of gravity, it's going to challenge your posture. So try to be hands on hips or hands at heart center, yogi's choice. From here, begin to draw your knee, your right knee up. Flex through your right toes. If you have your hands on your hips, you can kind of feel what's going on. Am I lifting my right hip up? Am I dumping my weight into my left hip? You can sort of use your hands here to gently guide your right hip a little bit down. So this might be your standing figure 4 tonight. Again, you can leave your hands at heart center too. For a more traditional variation, bring your right ankle across your left thigh. So we're making that standing 4 leg shape. Then begin to bend into your left knee and sink into your hips. So this is your standing figure 4. If you need to tap down like I had to just now, my left leg felt like it's going to give out, tap down, come back. You can leave your hands at heart center. If you're taking this variation against the wall, come to putting your back up against the wall. Walk your feet slightly ahead of you. Begin to take your right knee, lift your right knee, cross your right ankle over your left thigh, and then come to a wall sit. It's a little bit different. You have the support behind you of the wall, so your hands might feel more comfortable at heart center. So taking just a few breaths, tap down. If you can't take a breath, tap down, come back. Very important that you breathe more so than balancing here. Tap down, come back. It's okay if you're wobbling, side of your left foot trying to recalibrate, assess what the heck is going on here, gain some muscle. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, straighten through your left leg, release your right foot, shake out your hands, shake out your legs, maybe turn your head softly side to side. All right, we're gonna do the right side. So, rooting down through our right foot again, hands at heart center, hands on your hips. If you wanna sort of feel what's going on when you lift your left leg, I recommend hands on your hips. Begin to pop up onto the ball of your left foot, lift your left heel. Then begin to draw your left knee in towards your chest. And again, you can sort of use your hands as guidance here to be like, oh, that might be too high, might be too low, might be just right. Just right for you. You're gonna cross your left ankle over your right thigh. You're gonna bend into your right knee, sink your hips. Maybe your hands come to heart center. Flex through your left toes and breathe. Really feeling what's going on in your right hip. Again, if you're coming up against the wall, you're here. Walk your feet out. Cross your left ankle, bend into your right knee, coming to your wall sit. Breath in, breath out. Tap down as you need to. There's no gold star if you can do this the whole time. Something to be said about falling out and coming back in, right? You're learning. Continue to breathe. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, straighten through your right leg, release your left, shake it out. All right, coming to the top of your mat. On your inhale, bring your arms out and up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, we'll hinge and fold, diving right back down to our forward fold. Inhale, we'll halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bring your hands down to your mat. We are going to come into a deep yoga squat. If this is uncomfortable for you, make sure you have a block or a prop or even a blanket. I'll guide you through how to do that without it. And if you need something, feel free to add it. So walk your feet out to mat width distance. Angle your heels in, toes out. Kind of reminds you of what we did in lizard lunge, right? Begin to bend into your knees, sink your hips, and come into your squat. When you come into your squat, if your heels are lifted, if they cannot reach the mat, put a blanket or towel down to add support for your heels. If this is too deep, you can always put a block underneath your bum. If you're in a yoga squat, draw your triceps, so the outer edges of the upper part of your arm, into your thighs. Inner thighs is your inner thighs are actively gaining traction into your arms. So there's this activation, right? We're pushing into one, one's pushing into the other, hands to heart center, chest is looking forward, breath in, breath out. Feel the stretch in your hips. Breathe in, breathe out. Even as our belly is constricted, notice that pancake breath. Once again, that pranayama. Notice it going up and down. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, bring your palms out in front of you. Press into your palms, so straighten through your legs, straighten through your arms. Heel toe your feet in. And then we'll step one knee back, then the other. And then make your way onto your backs. Once you come onto your back, have your feet flat on the mat, knees pointing towards the ceiling, and we'll just windshield wiper our knees softly side to side, allowing them to just float back and forth. Then coming back to stillness and center, walk your feet out to the outer edges of your mat. And then we're going to shift our knees off towards the right. So your left knee is coming towards the inside of your right thigh. Your right knee is venturing out to the right. If this is too much, you can always put a prop or something underneath your right knee. We're not going to be here too long. It's just a different variation of a spinal twist. But keeping your shoulders down, your arms might open up to a T. So allowing your arms to extend out. Your gaze might continue to lift up towards the ceiling. You might look off your left shoulder. And we'll just take one full breath in. And one audible sigh out. On your next inhale, we'll pull our belly button in towards our spine to draw our knees back up to neutral, keeping our feet mat width distance. Take a breath in. Exhale, allow your knees to drift to the left knee coming towards the left side of your room as your right knee comes towards the inside of your left leg. Shoulders continue to remain down, head, neck. Back of the neck is long, chin slightly tucked in. Breath in, breath out. On your next inhale, slowly draw your knees up towards center. We'll take a deep breath in, audible sigh out. Need to heel toe your feet in just a little bit closer so they come to a more natural state so they're not as wide as what we just had. Draw your hands by your hips. We're going to take one bridge pose variation. That's a back bend. So we're going to press down through the soles of our feet. Backs of our arms are pressing into the mat. Our hands are by our hips. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. On your inhale, press down through the soles of your feet. Lift your hips. Maybe they just lift an inch. Maybe you shift your weight into the tops of your shoulders. Backs of your shoulders, press down through the tops of your arms, press your hands into the mat, press your feet into the mat, take a deep breath in, and then slowly lower one vertebrae at a time on your exhale, slow with control. Allowing your back to rest on the mat. Once it gets there, begin to windshield wipe your knees softly side to side once again. And we're going to end our class with a posture that's known as Superbadakanasana. That's a supported, reclined, bound angle pose. You can continue to stay here for Shavasana if you'd like. But if you don't want to, I'll guide you into a Shavasana when it's time. So from your feet being flat on the mat, knees pointing towards the ceiling, begin to bring the soles of your feet together as your knees start to spread out. So left knee towards the left side of your mat, right knee towards the right side. You're making this diamond-like shape with your legs. This is a pretty intense hip opener, pretty intense hip stretch. If you need blocks or props or blankets, put them underneath your knees. Taking a breath in and a breath out. Maybe closing your eyes. Maybe having a gentle gaze low. Noticing you start to slow down. Let your thoughts come and let them go. Again, you can feel free to stay here for Shavasana, your final resting pose. If you're opting to take a different posture for your final resting pose, begin to draw the soles of your feet flat to the mat, knees pointing towards the ceiling, and then maybe extend your legs out to a more traditional corpse pose. You can use a rolled up blanket, towel, pillow underneath your knees. And allowing yourself just a couple of minutes of quiet stillness. Breath in, breath out. Slowly begin to deepen your breathing. And make some small movements by wiggling through your fingers and your toes. And let that movement grow into circling through your wrists and your ankles. Maybe turning your head softly side to side in no motion. If it feels good, you might even extend your arms up overhead as if you just woke up from a nice nap. And when you're ready, begin to gather both of your knees in towards your chest, maybe wrapping your arms around the fronts of your shins or the backs of your knees, giving yourself a little bit of a squeeze here. And then begin to roll on to one side, pausing in your fetal posture. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze soft, begin to press yourself up into a seated position, bringing your hands to heart center once you get there, thumbs embracing your chest. Thank you all for practicing with me. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. With gratitude, namaste. Thank you everyone so much. This is our last class of our 6-part series of free yoga basics. There's some pricing options on the screen right now if you'd like to join us. And through the end of March 2021, there is a 20% off coupon Yoga Basics if you visit our website bluepointyoga.com for new members. Thank you so much. Have a great night.